Hello, Jay. Jay. Jay, can you hear me? Jay. Jay, can you hear me? Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, buddy.
I just see a picture. I was seeing a picture for you. I was wondering if you were there on video. That's why.
Hey, here I am. Can you see
There
me now?
you are. There you are.
Cool, man.
How you feeling?
Good. I like
Good.
your background, man. It's coming together.
It's slowly coming together.
Yeah. What is that a banner right there? Invest in your future?
Yeah, I did a banner. That's when I do my seminars. We bring it out, so it's actually a tall banner, but it's only half right now. So
okay.
And then I got the poster in the back, goals up there, so just working.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool, man.
So otherwise, you're all set? Are you good to go?
Yeah, let's do this, man.
All right.
Get it out the way.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Got to bear with me. I'm not a professional photo guy, video guy like you, man. So if
okay,
I screw up, I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. The real important part is the content. Forget the video.
Right. Got it.
That's what Gary says. Gary V says, don't worry about the video. Just start recording.
Start recording.
Just start recording. Cool. Don't worry about all that other stuff. That's minor stuff. All right.
You been getting my my weekly videos?
I have.
You have, okay.
Notes and I love it.
Cool.
It's real good. How big is your email list?
I think I'm up to 145 now. It's not big, man. Yeah, it's not big.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right.
So let me know when you're ready to start.
Yeah, I'm about to start in about 4 seconds.
How's my audio?
It's perfect. You're good.
Got it.
The whole time I was adjusting while you're talking. It was great.
Sure.
Great. All right. Let's see here. Perfect. All right. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Invest in Your Future. I'm your host, Kenny, CEO of Corinna Group Corporation. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode. We're here every Thursday to give back knowledge, to help those people who are struggling, but also to give them ideas and give them, different avenues of making money right now, especially in the market we're in. But today I have a special guest. I want to welcome Jay. Jay Shakur is a good friend of mine. He's originally from Boston, a great gentleman from our area in Boston, but moved down to Central Florida to go after the heat, which I 100% agree with him. Jay's been in real estate for a long time, good friend of mine. We've done some work together and hopefully do some future work together. But Jay's a very smart man. I reach out to him for ideas, and also he's very knowledgeable in terms of obviously the game of real estate. That's why I'm bringing him on the show. So Jay, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time. And you want to introduce yourself, Jay?
Yeah, I'm Jay Shakur. Hey, everybody. Shout out to Kenny's audience who is on with him every week. He does a brilliant show, so make sure you keep on coming back. But my name is Jay. I'm here in the Orlando area currently, but as Kenny mentioned, I'm from Boston originally.
Nice. It's funny because I'm thinking of the same thing, Jay, of moving from the cold weather to the warmer weather, because to be honest, I'm sick of shoveling snow. I'm sick of driving in it. What made you originally move from Boston to Florida? Let's start with that.
Well, originally I had gone to school here years ago to fly airplanes, right? So I went to school down in Daytona Beach. That was sort of going to be my first lot in life, was to become an airline pilot. And so I fell in love with it naturally when I was in college. And I said I ended up going back home after about 4 years. And I always said after school, I'm going to get back down to Florida. I'm going to eventually move back down to Florida just because I fell in love with the climate,
Nice.
Plus, you can ride motorcycles all year round, so
Nice. That's
you can't beat that.
That can't beat that. That's
sure. Yeah.
That's nice. That's great. I mean, and were you when you left, were you originally in real estate when you left before you came down to when you went down to Florida?
No. You mean when I left Boston at
Yes, when
first?
you left Boston.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
no, I had dabbled in it a little bit. I
Okay.
dabbled in it on the wholesaling side up in Boston.
Okay.
I was actually putting a few properties under contract, and it never really worked out for me back then. I mean, I was real young, about 18 years old,
Sure.
but always fascinated, even before I went to school to fly airplanes, always fascinated in general with just real estate. So I had done a little bit with wholesaling and assignment of contracts, that sort of thing.
Sure.
But back then, that was about it, though, as far as that went. I
Okay.
hadn't had a real estate license at that point. I was just sort of, just sort of dipping my toes in the water, so to speak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. A lot of people start that way.
Right.
That's interesting. So you really want to become a pilot, but then
Right.
you're dabbling in real estate here and there.
Yeah.
Are you making any money? Are you making a little money? Are you making any money at all? Or
Yeah. I make a pretty comfortable living.
okay, nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm blessed with the opportunity to be able to do this as my only full-time job.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, life is good these days.
Well, I'm not talking about now. I know now you're all set. I'm talking about back
Oh,
in the
you're
day
talking about?
when you were starting. Yeah, where were you starting? Kind of started from where you
Yeah,
started.
when I started, no, I didn't make any money. No, I was just learning how to fill out a contract in those days and
Yep.
learn how to get on the phone and talk to perfect strangers. So,
Wow.
good life lessons that I learned back then that are still helping me out to this day.
Those things I want to discuss.
Yes.
When you were starting, you had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable getting on the phone and calling strangers.
Absolutely.
That's
100%.
a huge skill, guys. You can pick up from Jay right there. That's a
Yeah.
huge skill because a lot of people will not do that, Jay. Tell them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything you want, I mean, regardless of what it is, the greatest things that you want or can have are really on the other side of your comfort zone. So chances are, if you're feeling uncomfortable about doing something, of course, as long as it's reasonable, ethical, and legal, chances are you're heading in the right direction. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to business. If it makes you uncomfortable, just go for it. Fight through that fear, that anxiety, whatever it is, and just go for it. You'll be surprised at how you come out on the other side. Yeah.
That's so true. I mean, everything is true. He's not lying. Everything's on the other side of the comfort zone because if you constantly push yourself out of your comfort zone, you'll achieve a lot more. It's just
Right.
a fact. So
it's a fact.
Yeah, Jay's gone through it. I've gone through it. Anybody successful, no matter how large or small their success, they've always gone through some kind of discomfort. And the larger the discomfort, the more they become successful. So Jay can can give you that from firsthand example right there. But Jay, can we talk about when you moved down to Florida? Now, did you get your license, right? You got your real estate license right away?
So, I mean, we're talking about the second time I moved back to Florida, right?
Oh, second time, yes. When you moved to
yeah. So no, it didn't happen right away. I kind of picked up and left Boston with like nothing. I just packed up my van, literally drove down here, and I had to figure life out. I knew I didn't want to stay back home because the environment I was in wasn't gonna lead me anywhere, right? So picked up, hit the road, came down here, and my first job actually was working at a laundromat when I got back down to Florida. Believe it or not, I was working at a laundromat. It was the only thing I could find. It was within walking distance, and I was there just folding clothes and doing other people's laundry, and I hated it. Right. Now, mind you, prior to that, I was living in Boston. A lot of people don't realize that. They don't know this about me, but I'm also a certified motorcycle mechanic. Right. So I had pretty much anybody who rode motorcycles in Boston or rode scooters, mopeds, they would come see me to fix their bikes. I was making like $50 an hour to do this, right? On my own, right? Not working for anybody. So for me to go from that to come down here to work at a laundromat, I was making $8 an hour. Didn't care, right? So what? I had a job. It was legal. Just happy to have something. But of course, in the back of my mind, I knew I needed something different. Fast forward maybe a few months, I got a job working at Bank of America. Right, I'm leading up to how I got into real estate. I got a job at Bank of America. Hated that too, right? I hated it with a passion. I said, mind you, I'm just trying to figure out what am I going to do, right?
Yep.
My whole aviation career did not work out due to an emergency landing I had to make on a solo flight, right? Flying an airplane by myself and had to declare an emergency. That's a really long story. I'll tell you about it one of these days.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. In any event, back to the bank. I'm working in the bank as a teller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hated that with a passion. And, you know, the whole while I'm working there, counting everybody else's money every single day, realizing I don't have any money, right? The whole time I'm working there, I'm seeing all these people, you know, all these different folks come in there, different walks of life. And me being the man I am, I would ask certain people, hey man, you know, what do you do for a living? You know, what do you do? So finally, after, I don't know, maybe about 2,000-3,000 customers came in, there was this one lady that walked in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she had me deposit checks from a title company, right? And remember, I had been in real estate. I dabbled in real estate before,
Yes.
right? So I said, you know what? Let me just dig into this woman a little bit here. And I asked her. I looked at the check. I saw it was like, I don't know, First American Title or something like that on the check. So I asked her. I said, "Ma'am, what is it that you do for a living?" Right? And she says, "Jay, I'm a real estate agent." And then she slips me her card. You know how they have like the little window at the bank?
Mm-hmm.
She slips me her card underneath the window. She says, "Call me if you ever want to get into real estate." Kenny, I think I called her like that evening, like on the way, like on the way back to the house. You know, I'm hating life at this point. Glad to have a job, but you know, this ain't me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm used to working for myself. For one, I'm used to having freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of anybody telling me when to come and go, when to take a lunch break, that sort of thing. So it just wasn't a fit for me. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know, sometimes you just need a job. At the time, I needed a job, right?
Sure.
So fast forward a little bit, I called this lady. I don't want to mention her name right now, but I called her. We had a great conversation about it on what it would take to get me in there. She
Mm-hmm.
said, "Look, Jay, you got to come on downtown to our downtown office and meet with our broker," right? So I did that. I think I set the appointment for maybe like a couple of days later. Went to the downtown office right here, downtown Orlando, sat down with the gentleman. And he says, "Look, man, it is just come on in here. We'll get you going. We'll set you up with a desk, a phone. We'll give you the training." This was at Coldwell Banker, right? Everybody's heard of Coldwell Banker, this big franchise real estate brokerage, right?
Sure. Yep.
So she plugged me into this broker. Broker put me on with the company. I signed up with Coldwell Banker. Mind you now, I'm still working for Bank of America, right? Which is a huge direct conflict of interest. But I ain't gonna say nothing to the bank, right? I'm not telling them nothing. I'm going to the bank every day, right?
Yep.
Doing my tele job. Actually had another job doing like data entry and in Maitland, Florida, about 20 minutes. It's like 20 minutes away from Orlando. I would go to the banks it was part-time job at the bank. So days I wasn't at the bank, I would go out to the Maitland job, right? Maitland, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, so basically I was shuffling 3 jobs at that time now. Maitland job, Bank of America, and real estate at the same time. And a little while, I want to say maybe about a month or 2 into my real estate job, right? I ended up listing a house and selling it super quick. I mean, in like a matter of, I listed a house and ended up going into contract. And then I think our closing date was in like 25, 30 days or something like that, just under a month's time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while I was waiting to close that transaction, Bank of America somehow found out that I was a licensed real estate agent and working for this company, Coldwell Banker, right? And the whole time, in a good month, I wasn't saying anything, right? I was going to work. Then I would slide over to Coldwell Banker at like 6:30 in the evening, get on the phone, make like 100 phone calls, you know. So that's back to calling, you know, that comfort zone thing, just calling people. I'd never really done that level of prospecting before, but you know what? This is what they told me to do if I was going to ever sell a house. So I just did it. And I wanted out of that bank so badly anyway. So there was my motivation, right? So the bank found out I worked for Coldwell Banker. The branch manager, I'll never forget this. She called me into her office one day. She called me in her office, said, "Hey, look, we got to talk." It was the branch manager and like my direct supervisor. I said, "Damn, this probably ain't gonna be good." Now, mind you, I got one foot out the door. I'm not even worried either way, right?
Yep.
Plus,
Yep.
I got a contract pending in escrow, right? I'm about to get the biggest check of my entire life, right? So I don't even care what they check. You hear me?
Yeah.
So anyway, basically they're like, "Yeah, so Jay, we heard you're working in real estate right now, buddy. Well, you didn't tell us about that, did you? I said, well, yeah, I got my license. I kind of tried to, downplay it a little bit. I said, well, I got my license. And they said, well, that's not going to work for us, right? And I knew it wasn't. It's just a conflict of interest because, of course, Bank of America writes mortgages, refis, that sort of thing. And they basically gave me an ultimatum. They say, well, what are you going to do? You got to make a decision today whether you're going to work for us or you're going to go sell real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I guess this is my last day here, So pretty much just packed it all up and left. And
Wow.
yeah, I'll never forget the lady looked at me. She says, do you have any listings? And I said, yeah. At that time, I had 3 listings, Kenny, when we had that conversation. I had 3 listings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yes. And then she goes, Jay, I can't see you being a real estate agent. I said, well, as long as I can see it, I mean, that's all that matters, I guess. Right?
That's all that matters.
Anyway, that was about 9 years ago now. So
Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's we all have kind of stories like that because obviously, I mean, we're kind of the same blood where I can't stand working for somebody else. Same kind of mindset, same kind of everything. But the interesting thing is, when you're trying to, he didn't just leave the job. He actually set himself up. If you guys can get a lesson from that, he set himself up before he left Bank of America to be able to go right into real estate. And I mean, so then from then on, he had listings already before he even left the job. That shows you that at least he's, he forethought and thought, you know what, even if anything doesn't work, at least I have still a foot here and a foot there, and you can still, balance both. But you end up going full time in real estate, and now tell us how'd that deal go? Well, how's that first deal? Tell us about that first deal.
Oh man, honestly, I think the first deal was probably, I don't know if it was the easiest, but it was definitely one of the easiest deals I've ever had. I mean, it was a house down in St. Cloud. It was a little ways away from Orlando. Not much, maybe 35, 40-minute drive away. And I went over there, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was it was an agent in the office that gave me a stack of old leads that they didn't want anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, this was all leads I had. So it was only people I had to call, and I just kept calling those people every day after I left the bank. And I got that one lady on the phone. Come to find out, it was a house. It was a rental property that she didn't want as a rental anymore, and she needed to just get rid of it, right? So yeah, and that's how I ended up listing that house. But we ended up getting a cash offer on that property. I want to say like a week into me listing that home, and sold that, closed on it a month later. And again, this is the first time I've never seen commission checks or anything like that before. But funny story, man, I took that commission check from Coldwell Banker and went back to the bank that I worked at to deposit it into my account. So that was so I mean, I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I was waving at everybody, right? And I wanted to say hi to the branch manager, and also wanted to make my first deposit my first real estate deposit to my bank account. So
see, full circle, made full circle.
Full circle, man.
That's nice. That's nice. I mean, that's interesting because for me, I used to work at a bank also. I never got a chance to do that. To come back with the big checks to their branch. So that's nice, Jay. That's very nice. Now. Yeah. When you started making some money now, because obviously you're a full-time agent now, you're making calls. I mean, can you give them kind of a little bit of what your workload was like, especially how hungry you were to make money, especially after you saw that first check?
Yeah, it was, after that first one, it was just back at it. And, I think I had a little bit of beginner's luck. But, the key to this business is just talking to as many people as you can every single day. Mm-hmm. And what I would do is I would just get in there and I would go into work. I would just pound the phones all day, every single day. And I would also get out and drive around to different neighborhoods and door knock, right? I would literally go up to random people's houses and just knock on doors. They open the door. I ask them if they were looking to make a real estate transaction anytime soon. And, you know, 99% of the time they said no. But then I'm only out there looking for that 1%. Every day I'm just looking for that 1%. Real estate is like a 99% rejection business, right? And you're just looking for that one yes every day out of 99 no's, you know, and that's all you need really to make a good living in this business.
Wow.
Right? I mean, to do that, the pain that people don't see, the behind the scenes, they think just, you know, you're a real estate agent, you just make all this money, you really don't do anything. They don't see about the 5-6 hours a day you spend on the phone, and then the 3 or 4 hours you spend a day in your car because you were on the phone for 5 or 6 hours in the morning. You know, they don't see that. So, I mean, really, that's just the grind. You know, real estate is a grind if you're going to stay in business long term. And luckily, I had read a lot of books. Excuse me. I had spoken with a lot of different top agents who sort of gave me that vision, that guidance early on to keep me pushing forward. Yeah.
Wow. And when you see, because a lot of people don't know all that work that a lot of agents do, because they, you know, you don't see the calls, you don't see the driving, you don't see the open houses, you don't see all those things that they work to get those large checks. But in the end, Jay, would you say you made the right decision? Would you say you're happier than, let's say, at the bank?
Oh yeah, that is totally worth it.
It's totally worth it. Now,
totally worth it. Yeah.
Totally worth it. So that's great. Now I want to move up a little bit. When we went to that area where, because I was not aware of it because I was still in school, but that 2008, right before that, where everyone can afford not afford a house, everyone can get a house. Everyone is trying to get a house and flip it, or, you know, houses are being overvalued. What did you see back then that in terms of the market, and what did you do for yourself? Did you do anything for yourself?
So no, Kenny, I wasn't in it back then, right? I came in shortly after that.
Okay.
I came in 2012. So when I came in sort of in the aftermath of that whole crisis. So there were a gazillion foreclosures in the marketplace at that time. I don't know if people remember, but we were definitely in a buyer's market, so which is the opposite of the market that we're in right now.
Yes.
So basically, there were REO properties, that's bank owned, right? There were REO properties all over the place and foreclosures all over the place. And there was also way more homes. I'm sorry, there were way more homes to go around than there were actual buyers for the property, because we were coming out of that financial crisis where people had lost their jobs, and, you know, their financial situation overall was just worse off. So I came in kind of at the tail end of that. And as the market started, so basically ever since I've been in, the market has kind of been swinging upwards, you know, slowly but surely, just appreciating. Yeah. We'll see what's going to happen here in the next couple of years. But if we do enter a declining market, this is going to be a challenging time for me, because it'll be the first time that I've ever had to conduct business and sell homes in a declining market. And between you and me, I'm really excited for that challenge, that opportunity, because I hear agents all the time who are older than me, you know, 30s, 40s, I'm sorry, not 30s, but 50s, 60s, 70 years old, telling me that they've sold real estate throughout the peaks and valleys of I don't know if I'm going the right way, throughout the peaks and valleys of the economy. And you got to learn how to operate in a down market as well as an up market, you know. So I'm really excited for that opportunity going forward. Who knows when that's going to be? We're not exactly in a crash yet, but you never know. Yeah.
Wow. No, Jay, those are actually all great points. I definitely want to actually just backtrack a little bit, because you mentioned so many great things. One thing you definitely mentioned is you understand and you study the markets. You know, Jay's the time man to understand that it's not going to be all sweet all the time, and he knows the downturn's coming. He's a smart man, and also he's reached out to people who've been in the game for a long time, 50, 60 years, or, you know, 50, 60 years old, and he's reaching out to them to understand the market and how to make money in those markets. A lot of people are losing their jobs because they don't make the adjustments, or they don't do the study that they need to be able to, like, you know, move on like the way Jay is. So that's one thing you really need to understand, is do your homework, and also reach out to people who've done it before, who've gone through the market, especially when it's gone down. Jay, those are great things. Thank you for that. When you're so now you know we've been on a sweet ride, and you know the downturn's coming. What would you say to somebody, you know, somebody new? Would you say how would you say for them to, you know, to do with their money right now? Especially because, should they wait? Should they still buy? I mean, what would you suggest?
Well, on the buying side, things are good because the interest rates are still at historically all-time lows.
Sure.
So money is still relatively cheap right now. And I got to remind everybody who's watching that we're not in the crisis that we were in 2008, right? This is a health crisis, not a financial crisis, right? So everybody's thinking that the home prices are going to just take this massive dip immediately. And frankly, we don't see that happening, right? In fact, in our market in the last couple of weeks, there's been an uptick, a slight uptick in prices, and also the amount of homes that have gotten sold, right? And the reason for that is simply a case of basic economics, meaning supply and demand. So the home supply is still relatively low compared to the amount of buyers that are out there in the marketplace that are needing these homes right now. And as long as that continues to be the case, the housing economy is still going to remain relatively strong.
Sure, sure. And so right now, I mean, for myself, I was trying to sell something to go into something larger because I don't care about the market. I just want to make money. I want to make cash flow. But for people in the residential side, what would you say? I mean, because you said interest rates are low. I mean, I know there's still a lot of great loans out there for people who are first-time home buyers. I mean, how would you say somebody could take advantage of when the market is dipped and there's a little dip in the market? What would you say the best rate for that?
I think if you try and time the market, you'll go crazy trying to do that.
Yep.
I think if you had a plan right before this whole COVID-19 thing hit, if you had a plan to go ahead and purchase a home, I think you need to go ahead and follow through with that plan. Keep moving forward, right? Because these homes are still going to get sold and people are still going to buy them, right? I think you need to keep moving forward because it's not the home prices aren't just going to tank like they did years ago, right? It's just, we just don't see that happening.
Sure.
You know, we just have too few homes on the market right now. And the new home builders they're not going to be able to keep up with the demand, with the buyer demand that's out there. So I think if you were to invest your money right now in real estate, you're still in a good spot going forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially long term, Jim.
Long term, especially long term, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the game I think everyone should play. If you can get into it, get into it. I mean, there's a lot of bad news, and Jay, obviously you can attest to this. There's so much negative news out there that you can't listen to all of it. You have to actually listen to people who are doing it, and like me and Jay, or people who are in the industry. Jay's been doing this for a long time. He does real estate, every single day. He sees the market, pretty much they call it on the streets, and he's seeing that, the potential is there to still make money. So if you can get in the house, get into it. Obviously, make sure you're not over leveraged, and be smart with it when you get into it. So Jay, great, that's great, thank you. What about, let's say, because a lot of people out here actually don't have great credit or don't have the cash. What would you say to those people, man? What would you say for their paths to go to?
Well, for those who don't have great credit, I mean, there's all sorts of programs out there so that you can start working on that. Obviously, you're going to need to start working on it because the banks are going to look at that, especially going forward. The restrictions are going to they're going to get a little bit tighter, especially in the midst of this whole coronavirus thing. They want to make sure your credit's solid. I think right now we're going as low as 620, whereas I want to say a month before Corona hit, we were going as low as 580 as far as credit score goes, is what you needed.
Wow.
Yeah. So just the coronavirus, so the coronavirus sort of bumped up the minimum, like bare bones minimum credit score that you needed just by 40 points, just because of this whole virus, the whole pandemic. So, I mean, that said, you still, I mean, those of you who were in that area anyway, I'm sure if you haven't begun already, you've at least given some thought that you need to start working on boosting up your credit score if you're looking to purchase property. Now, still, there are all sorts of programs out there for those of you with less than stellar credit. I mean, it's FHA-backed mortgages. But just keep in mind that the restrictions are going to be a little bit tighter going forward. So if you got that hospital payment that you're just neglecting to pay because you don't feel like it, even though you have the money lying around, just go ahead and knock it off your report for now. Okay. And if you got much bigger problems with that, then you may want to get some outside agency to help you clear that stuff up. Yeah.
Sure. No,
yeah.
But
credit overall, I mean, it's always going to be necessary. It's kind of always going to be the Achilles heel in real estate. But just know that once you fix your credit and you get in, that's going to be just the beginning for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree. I mean, Jay talks about it because it's that important, man. Credit is your resume, is your financial resume to the banks. And if you
Sure.
have terrible credit, man, they're not going to give you anything to, in terms of loans. And the
Right.
only way I think right now, and if you, especially if you want to get into a house, you need to have some decent credit. I mean, he talks about 580. I've never seen that low, but
Yeah.
that's incredible. So, but you still, I say always want to keep it around 680 to 700, around there. That's where you always save.
That's ideal. Right.
Exactly. That's
the
ideal.
580s and the 6, those are the worst case scenarios. Yeah. And keep in
Yeah.
mind that if you do get a loan at that low of a with that low of a credit score, that you're going to probably be penalized with a higher interest rate, as well as something like points on your mortgage, which basically means it's going to cost you more to borrow that money versus somebody with a 680 and up credit score, like you mentioned.
Exactly. I mean, we're talking about saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars here, Jay. I mean, we're talking about saving people some serious money here. If you're smart, you listen to what we're talking about. That's great.
Yeah.
So, Jay, right now, you say, like, if you can get into a house, if you can afford it, obviously, and have smart credit and smart enough with your finances, you can definitely get into it. Where do you see the prices right now? Do you see the prices are still high? Do you see them dropping? I mean, how do you see your market? I mean, especially because you're in the Orlando area, right? Correct?
Right.
Yeah. So how do you see the prices right now in your area?
Yeah, we're seeing them pretty stable. I mean, they're still trending upward a little bit. They haven't really dropped off. I think we're still in pretty good shape here. Our prices have not fallen yet. I mean, my investors are calling me saying, "Hey, Jay, what do you think is going to happen? Is this thing going to bottom out anytime soon?" And I'm having to tell them, unfortunately, no, it's not going to happen. I mean, 2012, 2013 is not coming back. And if it does, it's not going to come back that fast.
Sure.
Not that soon. Yeah.
Sure. Would you say, go ahead.
Our prices and our volume is holding steady right now, surprisingly. Yeah.
That's great. So prices and volume are staying pretty much steady. That's great. Yeah. I mean, it was still early though, Jay. We're still early.
It's still early.
It's still
early. I may be eating these words come November, December, but who knows?
Exactly. No, let's hope it's steady. Let's hope it stays steady. But also, when I'm actually thinking about also, how's the fix and flip game? Is that still viable for people to be able to buy a cheap house in Florida, put in, 10, $5,000 and just get it on the market quick again?
I don't think that's as strong as it once was.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the opportunities that are out there for that, I think are few and far between.
Sure.
Yeah. Fewer and further between. Yeah.
Sure. Makes sense. So you guys got to be careful if you're going after that market where you're fixing and flipping, because obviously it could be dangerous. You could be held with a large mortgage or a hard money loan that you don't want to be stuck with just because you're trying to get in the fix and flip game. I know a lot of guys have done that, Jay. That's why I'm talking about that. Yeah. So, and right now, let's talk about your personal. What's your big plans right now? What are you looking at right now?
So we're looking at just moving a lot of volume.
Sure.
And then I also have the wholesale company on the side. That's Psycho Realty Investments. So we're looking to get in on both sides there.
Nice.
On the volume, when I speak of the volume, that's my retail side, right? My normal buyer and sellers.
Sure.
And then on the wholesale side, I've got some new hires that are coming on board that are going to help us get some more of those for the fix and flip opportunities, to seek out more of those opportunities for investors like yourself and other folks that are on your channel.
Sure.
Yeah, but we see that becoming a little bit harder to find, but they're out there. They're out there, and there may be some more with people having some sort of financial crisis in their lives, whether they've lost their job or so whether there's just some sort of abrupt change in their life. So
sure, and that's true. I agree, because in the deals, they say there are always deals out there. It's just you have to just make more calls. Instead of 100, you're making 200 calls. But I think the same thing, and I'm always looking for deals. Like Jay knows. But if you guys are looking for deals, Jay's definitely a guy you can contact. And I'll leave his information all in the contact information. He'll leave his number also. But if let's say, I'm a small guy. I have $5-10 grand. And I want to get into real estate, but I don't know what to do. Should I go get should I try to wholesale? Should I try to buy and hold one? Should I try to get my license? I mean, what would you suggest for a guy who's just starting out with 5 or 10 grand?
5 or 10. Well, first of all, you want to do some wholesale, and you really don't need any money for that, right?
Yep.
You can do that with zero money. So I mean, those are the wholesaling is sort of on the investing side of things. right? If you go and get your license, then you're working. I mean, you're basically going to get a job, right, as an agent.
Sure.
And you can do that for less than $5,000. That's going to really cost you, I think, maybe about $2,000 to get started, to get going with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you think about it, for $2,000, you basically are starting a business for $2,000. I mean, what other business in America can you get started with just $2,000? You know,
Yeah.
not many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what was the other part of that, Kenny?
Well, if I'm gonna buy one, would you suggest buy? Because obviously up here in Boston, you can't buy anything for 10 grand.
Yeah, I mean, just
So that's
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So anywhere, if someone's listening, if they only
Expensive.
have that, but they can't afford to buy anything, how can they get in the game? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, if you can't afford to buy anything, then I'd be looking at some wholesale options. Maybe you find something for an investor out there. You go out and find the deal.
Yep.
And sell your deal basically to another investor, and you keep the money in between.
Sure.
In between the price you find a deal for and what you sell to the investor. That's your classic wholesale transaction, which you can do with zero money, by the way. So it doesn't cost you anything to do that. It might cost you a bunch of time in the beginning to find that deal. That's probably your biggest investment, going out there looking for something like that. Yeah.
Nice. So guys, that's another avenue right there. If you guys don't have any money or zero money, or it's 5 or 10 grand and can't afford to buy anything, you can still get in the game by wholesaling and flipping that contract to another investor. So guys, get some of those tips and write them down if you need to. Great, Jay. That's a great idea. Now we're almost finishing up here. I just got, guys, I got a top 5 questions here, and then we're pretty much done. But quick question.
Sure.
Stocks, just get on real quick. Buy, yes or no?
I'm no stock guy. I'm a real estate guy, but all of my stock guy friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say jump into those airlines right now.
Jump in.
They say jump into those airlines. Get them while they're down and while they're not flying.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yep.
I think the same thing, man. You got to buy bargains.
Right.
Great. And let's get into this top 5 here. So, Jay, what would you say is your number one habit that's made you successful?
Habit, geez, it's just persistence every day, and then doing the work when I don't feel like it. It's probably 4 days out of 5 I don't feel like prospecting. I don't feel like making 300 phone calls. I can think of almost anything that is more exciting to do than make 300 phone calls sitting here by myself at my desk. I mean, doing the laundry is more fun. Doing the dishes is more fun, right? Yes. But I understand that doing that one thing that people don't like to do is what makes me a living. So I get up and do it every single day, whether I feel like it or not. Yeah.
That's a great habit to pick up, guys. If you guys pick that persistence, I mean, he doesn't want to, but he still does it. That's huge. Right. That's actually a mental battle you're fighting. That's pretty much it.
Right.
Number 2,
it's not all bad. That's the part of my day that I don't consider that much fun. Hitting the road, I do that part, get it out the way in the morning so I can get to the fun part of selling real estate. So smart. I don't want to scare your viewers with that part of it, but
no,
that's
smart.
What you got to do to be successful in this business. So,
exactly.
The truth.
Exactly. Smart. What's the most exciting project you're working on right now?
Exciting?
Yeah, or big project or anything that really excites you right now. What are you working on?
Well, we're trying to structure I'm structuring this big old, it is a mansion, a lakefront mansion, for a gentleman. So I'm trying to put that together right now for him. I'd say that's probably, in my world, it's another deal, but, that's probably the most exciting thing I've got going on right now in my life. My life's pretty boring, Kenny. To be honest with you, I just, I work and that's it, man.
Yeah. That's what we all do, man. That's what I do. I work all day. No, that's great. How, you want to tell me a little bit about the mansion? How much it is? How big is it?
Yeah, it's funny because it's the seller is going through, he's going through a divorce. There's all sorts of issues with it. In the bank, hung up in court. I think it's in divorce court right now. And we're just fighting to get the house. I have the buyer in that transaction. We're just fighting to get the house. It's about $1.5 million. Okay. So I know that buys you a shack in Boston these days, right?
Yeah. I bet that's a nice house though for 1.5 in Florida on the beach.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's not on the beach, but it's on the lake, though.
Nice, nice.
In Orlando, if you live on the lake, it's like living on the beach in
Oh,
Orlando.
great. Good luck, Jay. Get that deal, man. Send me some pictures.
We're working.
So tell me about, let's say, the worst deal you've had, or let's say the worst loss in terms of, let's say, money or house, or what was your worst deal and what did you learn from it?
You know, the worst deal is when I had a listing under contract for a guy. I had the property sold in like one day and he disappeared on me. The seller.
The seller disappeared?
So the seller hired me to sell his house. I had about 3 full price offers on the thing, cash, all cash.
Wow.
And then the seller disappeared on me. I mean, I'm calling him back. Look, I got this thing sold. We just need you to sign right here so we can head over to the title company. And he disappeared. Never heard from him again.
Wow.
And the property was an hour and a half away. So from now on, if anybody calls me from that part of town, I won't go there anymore.
So is that what you learned? Just don't go far?
That's what yeah.
Don't go far?
That's what I learned. But no, I mean, you know, those are growing pains, I guess, man. That was very early on in my career.
Sure.
I mean, maybe I should have done a better job of sizing that guy up to see if he would have been a fit. But who knows? I mean, if they're signing with you, generally in this business, you know, you think you're a fit for that person, right?
Sure.
Because I go on a job interview with these people every day. If I'm applying to sell your home, right? You're hiring me. That's my job interview every day. So yeah, I mean, to me, that was a loss in time and emotions. And like I said, it was early on in my career, so it was a big deal to me back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, Jay. That's a tough one. Don't worry. There's more deals coming. Deals coming.
The second biggest loss was when I had to buy an air conditioner for a house because I sent somebody else to do a final inspection on a property that didn't catch that the AC was not working, and we closed on that transaction. Does that make sense?
So you had to you replaced the AC. So
part of the contract that we had written at this time on this one house was to have an air conditioner, was to have the AC in working condition, right? Yep. So my client is buying this home with the notion that he's getting the home with a working air conditioner. Our job as real estate agents is to go out there and conduct a final walk inspection either the day of or the day prior to closing on that property. So we're going around making sure everything works that it's supposed to be working prior to this money changing hands, prior to the keys of this property changing hands. Okay. Big mistake. I was, you know, I thought I was too busy at the time to go do this inspection. I sent somebody else to do it. They cleared everything, told me everything was working, right? Including that AC. We closed on the property. My buyer gets there, that AC is not working. Guess who that's on?
It's on you guys, huh?
That's on me.
Yeah.
Not you guys.
It's on you.
That's on Jay.
Wow.
You hear me? Yeah.
So you have to put in the AC.
Yeah, you kind of had to remind me when you were thinking about bigger losses. I said, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I had something worse than that other guy who just disappeared on me. Yeah, that was having to write a check for an air conditioning unit for a 2,500 square foot house. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big lesson too, right? It's a lot of learning right there. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Let's see here. So almost done here. What's let's say, who's the most influential person to you today? Is there somebody that you look up to, a mentor, or somebody like who's very influential to you right now? You know,
my mom's really good one. She's a big time. She's a CEO of Build Boston up there, a nonprofit organization that helps the inner city youth. And she came there after running her own nonprofit, the Boston Learning Center, which was another company huge in education. So really nowadays, aside from the normal coaches I have in my life, I have my real estate coaches. I look to her as sort of a life coach because I remember seeing her go through that process and seeing her grow as a business owner, right? And eventually selling the company and being hired for, you know, jobs whatever, but for being hired to run Build Boston, which is just huge organization headquartered in Boston, but they have offices in California. They have offices all around the country. So Believe it or not, I still get on the phone with her every at least once a week and just talk business with her and pick her brain just for advice on
Nice.
what to do. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Great,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Mom's always the influence. Love it. I love
Yeah.
that. Love
Yeah.
that. What would you say? Let's see here. Is there any book right now that would say changed or helped you at all in your business right here, Jay? Any books?
Man, let's see. I got my bookcase back here. I've read a lot of books on real estate. I've read, a lot of Gary Keller. Who's the other good one? Chris Voss. He's got a book on negotiation.
Mhm.
I've read a lot of Grant Cardone, Sell Be Sold, 10X, all that good stuff. What else? I'm big on the business books, sales books. Obviously, Jeb Blunt, Sales Gravy. The list is long, man.
Sure.
Can I name one book?
Yeah, just one that like really, maybe that you read all the time.
One go-to?
Yeah, one go-to.
That's hard, man. That is hard. To name one book. Jeez. That is really hard. You put me on the spot now, man. I'm having to look at my bookshelf right now. What was a good one? I don't know, Kenny.
Any of your best one, the one that that you travel with, the one that the audience should go get when they because they get into real estate or anything.
Hang on, let me look at my Kindle real quick.
You got Kindle too.
Yeah. I've read so many. That one book, huh? So I can name some that you should go get if you're looking into sales.
Definitely.
Yeah. So there's Sell or Be Sold. That's by Grant Cardone, by the way. There's Millionaire Success Habits. That's Brendan Bouchard. What else we got over here? Read Guerrilla Marketing by J. Conrad Levy. Guerrilla Marketing. That's an older book. You can find that. Let's see. Power of Habit by Charles Duguid.
That's
Power of Habit.
Great one. Great one.
What else? The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. That's Stephen Covey. What else? I like some of the newer stuff too. Who's the Wolf of Wall Street guy? That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Way of the Wolf.
Yep.
Way of the Wolf.
Sales book.
Way of the Wolf. That's a good sales book. But I'm big on business books. I try to read at least one of them a week. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Smart man, guys. That's one tip you can definitely take from Jay also is be studious and read, man. I have my bookshelf back there. He has his bookshelf right there. It's not a coincidence that, the most successful people read almost 4 or 5 hours a day. It's not coincidence, man. It's just you have to do it. To be honest, Jay, I used to hate reading, and I used to hate it with a passion. And I realized that all the secrets, man, are in the books, man. Like it's tough to avoid. But Jay's very studious, and he reads also. He gave me some good tips right there, some good books to follow. I suggest you read all of them and more. And Jay, one last question here. If you could leave, let's say you could leave one piece of information. You can't leave money, you can't leave anything else, and you leave one piece of information, let's say for your son, for your daughter, and you just want to make sure that they have the best life possible. What would that information be, man?
It's kind of cliche, man. Just, you believe in yourself. Don't be scared.
Yep.
And don't be scared to take chances, mainly. Don't be afraid to take chances. And don't be afraid to fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you got to miss that shot a whole bunch of times before it goes in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Great, Jay. Great. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Jay, where can people reach out to you, man, if they want to reach out to you?
You can catch me on Facebook at Realtor Jay Shakur. That's all together, Realtor Jay Shakur. You can email me at jay@cyclerealtor.com. And make sure you spell Cycle Realtor correctly. That's REALTOUR. You can head over to my website, www.cyclerealtor.com. Call me, 407-244-6251 or 407-777-4224. text me, email me. I'm pretty easy to reach. Okay.
Great. Jay, thank you, man.
Hey,
Jay Shakur right there, man, an investor, an agent. He's been doing this real estate thing for a long time. I reach out to him for advice. That's why I brought him on the show, Jay. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time to explain your
welcome.
business and
Yeah.
how you started and how, you know, it takes persistence. He talks about he makes 300 something calls a day, guys. This is something important you guys have to pick up. You know, he follows and, you know, reaches out to mentors, people who are higher level than him, so he can get information from them. He, you know, he counsels with his mom. I mean, come on, this guy is serious about it. And also he's studious. He reads all the time. Guys,
All the time.
All the time, man. And he started his own business, his whole wholesaling. He's reading about ways to make money even in the downturn. So these things, guys, you can learn from him. And if you reach out to him, I'm pretty sure he can help you buy a house, sell a house, obviously get into investments if you need to. I'll leave all his information in the show notes so you guys can reach out to him. Obviously, Jay, guys, thank you for joining us again. But Jay, thank you so much for showing up and giving us all your wisdom. And
thank you for having me.
Stay safe. And any last words?
No, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I mean, this is great. You know, we should do it again sometime, Kenny. I really appreciate it.
No
and
problem,
you're going
Jay.
strong. I love what you do, man. You're going strong.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming on again. We'll definitely do it again. Maybe do kind of an update to see what's going on. Guys, until next time, I'll see you at the top.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Bye.